I'm Patrick Towell. I'm co-founder and joint chief executive of a company called Galant Media Ventures, and we're an innovation agency that work in the creative industries.
I'm Mandy Berry and I'm the other co-founder and joint chief executive of Galant Media Ventures. I think understanding trends is important, but I think the only way of understanding that is not just from doing research, but it goes back to ideas about networking. Because I think you understand what are the trends that actually maybe are going to be the most useful, the most important or exciting if you network a lot with other people and across different sectors.
Understanding the social environment in which you're launching things and the economic environment is incredibly important. And so that includes an awareness of what's happening both in general retail and consumer sectors, as well as more specific creative industries.
I'm David O'Hearns, Creative Director at Vibe in Macclesfield, and we are an integrated digital PR and brand agency. It's important to understand where we are in the world. To date, there's been a lot of simplification happening over the last few years for the amount of devices and channels that your brand now gets pushed through. So it needs to be a lot more flexible than it ever used to be, and simplified. You need to get your message across. I guess it's important to try and keep yourself current and have your own purpose and not just follow a style trend just because everyone else is.
So I would suggest that companies who are concerned about being sure that they understand what's going on out there need to be making sure that they're going to events with people from different sectors, places where people are talking about new ideas, some of which you'll agree with and some of which you won't, but being part of the conversation actually helps to make sure that you're part of the trends that are going to be useful to you and helps you to set the trends where you need to be doing that and to have the collaborators to do that with, so you're not out there on your own.
My name is Steve Carsey. I'm the Director of Television and Online for Sassy Films. In that capacity, I oversee the development and creative strategy for all our broadcast operations across traditional TV and online platforms. I'm personally, as a producer, a big believer that it's better to create popular culture rather than follow it. It's very rare, though, that we have an opportunity to do that, and very often as producers we have to follow trends in the industry and recognise where the opportunities are going to be. Sometimes that's a case of being one step ahead of the competition, or kind of looking internationally and seeing what's working abroad. Sometimes that's a case of seeing what our competitors are doing. Sometimes that's recognising what's working on a TV channel already and trying to, without being derivative or trying to emulate it too closely, trying to explore and investigate what's going to follow that idea, what's going to kind of be the next evolution of that idea in terms of the format or the idea or the execution of that idea. So our inspirations and our influences come from all sorts of areas, both historical, international and indeed from our peers.
My name's Jeff Coughlin. I'm from a company called MapToMe. I'm the CEO and the founder of MapToMe. We specialise in branded entertainment and digital engagement. I don't follow trends. I think being in the outskirts of everywhere in Macclesfield and not in the base of London, we don't copy anybody. We don't look to anybody. We just do what we want to do, and we're creatively free with it. Now, when we have agencies that take too much control of our creative process, the product is never as good as if we're left to our own devices.
There's a sense in which you must be aware of the trends, but you need to not necessarily follow them, or you might apply a trend from one subsector, music, and actually apply it in film or computer games.
You need to be understanding what trends are happening in the market. Some of that might be more functional with the change in devices and channels that your brand gets pushed through. Other ones may just be trends because certain styles are around, people appreciate them or buy into them. Now, sometimes that's appropriate in certain marketplaces. Other times you shouldn't just be following the trend because you're trying to create some distinction.
If it's become a trend, you're probably too late to be following it. So in some ways, your ability to make the new trend, to spot the thing that hasn't emerged, that's really important. And it is often coming from research, talking to people who are on the edges, who have foots in at least two camps. That's the way to know that the trend or the thing that hasn't happened yet. But being trendy is probably not a recipe for success.
We have a lot of people say, oh, can you make me the next Angry Birds, or can you make the next Temple Run? but that'll never be good as the original. So why not be original? Those were successful because they were original. And I think that's what many people do, is try and copy others for their success. And that annoys me, because it's about doing something for yourself and something that stands out.